Welcome to the 10-Acre Woods. My name is Mark, and this here is my wife, Tara. We're just heading out to open up the animals. You'll notice that it isn't the crack of dawn. Now, we don't always come out at 6:30 or 5:30 in the morning. We're not regular farmers, so we don't have a whole bunch of chores to get done before it gets hot out. We let the animals rest and relax, and they're trained for us to come out around 10 o'clock in the morning. It gives us a little bit time on the weekends and Tara a little bit time during the week to get a few things done inside before heading out and having to worry about that. Plus, we have Sheldon inside because it is cool at night and now and in the morning. So we don't want to put Sheldon out when it's cool in the morning. So we're going to head inside and we're going to start the routine. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Dad.
Now the alpacas are waiting for their meal, so they'll get their meal out in that area. So they're going to be hanging out probably by that door until they get their food. And what they get, oh, good morning, Fernando. And what they get is an alpaca food, which is it's like a rabbit food. I will turn on the light here since we came in the wrong direction here. There we go. So the first thing is Sheldon, and we're giving him his bottle because we want to make sure he's getting all the nutrients. He was getting a little bit light, so we wanted to make sure that we were just topping him up. And what's interesting is if you show Lucy out there, which is like 4 years old, you show her the bottle, she knows exactly what it is. And look at that tail wag. Now, somebody asked in the comments about a Muscovy duck, why do they wag their tails? So there's a few different reasons. One of them could be mating. But we believe that it's just they're showing their expression. They're happy because when you go up to them and talk to them, they'll wag their tail. And when they're with their buddies, they'll wag their tail. And when they're with a female Muscovy, they'll also wag their tail.
You tell them they're handsome.
Yeah, when you tell the ducks they're handsome, they wag their tail. Almost done. Now, Tara seems to leave the nipple out here all the time, so we'll have to keep an eye on that nipple. It just sticks to the top of a pop bottle. And no, this is not sponsored by Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving along, getting feed.
So, 2 scoops of wheat, 2 scoops of barley. That takes care of the ducks. Goats and the sheep, just a little extra. The goats and sheep don't need the extra, but because they all live together, we give them a safe for the ducks and goats and sheep to eat all together.
Oh, Hannibal. Hannibal's right there at the door.
This is the alpaca feed, and it's a 3 pellet. So 1 scoop per alpaca in there.
I can carry that. When you're ready.
When you're ready. And then I top it up with oats, because they like oats. So, trick is, we leave that there. And we take this out. We get everybody focused on the there.
Distract them. And then open up the gate and let the alpacas out. And they know what's going on.
So by spreading it out, sheep and goats have to work for it. The ducks will actually get more of it.
Yeah, so this is mainly meant for the birds. Now the sheep and goats do eat it, and some people have said, well, they're eating it right off the ground. So can we not put it in a container for them? If we put it in a container for them, it's a smaller area, they'll fight over it, and animals don't really, like they're really good at picking up material off of the ground without getting a mouthful of dirt. So preferably, yeah, if it's on a grassed area, then that's great. Then, you know, it's not. But unfortunately here, I'm just going to get out of the way, guys. There we go. Unfortunately, we just had our pond done, so we need time for that grass, which we're going to seed. We haven't done so yet. We need time for that grass to start growing up. But it's not a concern with the dirt that's on the ground. Their lips are designed for picking up small little objects without getting too much dirt. No, what's going on? Shanzy wants to get, oh, Shanzy's torn between, there's hay. So these are our hay trays. Hay trays? Hay tray. They're great for storing hay and pulling out material through it. The alpacas eat kind of out of the top of it. So we're going to pick up a couple more of them as we have put the larger unit that was over here. We put it up front for the ponies, Marley, and the our stud goats.
You okay?
So if we didn't distract all the other animals out there, then they would be all over in here trying to get at this stuff.
Sheldon.
And Sheldon going outside. He was distracted by things on the ground inside, so hay. So Tara had to pick him up. So we put Sheldon in this area up here just because we're still monitoring him around the other animals. He is the small one, so we don't want him to get bullied around by the other ones. And he quite enjoys it up here. He's the first one that people see when they enter through the main gate, all the visitors. We now have that door open in there, so he can kind of come and go, and that's his own little spot. Now, here you'll see, okay, something's gone different here. We decided against the plexiglass. Plexiglass was a little rigid, not rigid, it was a little fragile, and we were concerned about the freezing, the temperatures and cracking, and we decided to go with this. It was on sale. It's like 3/4 inch birch, or 1/2 inch birch anyway. We decided to go with this, but we're still going to lever? Yeah, that's right, lever them up. They're just on there temporarily right now. So Tara's going to paint that, I believe the same brown as this, and then we're going to get a door here that goes across. Chickens!
With winter coming, soaking there. So it triples the size of the grains, and it's just a mixture of all the grains. Their normal feed that I would do, which is wheat, barley, the peas I've added. So you want to just soak it, stir it, make sure. I'm using probably 3-4 days of soaking it. And then this one goes out to the ducks, or the chickens. Sorry.
That's what's going on, right?
Well, they're occupied or else they're close.
Now this area here we will be opening up likely next year. This here we'll take out and we'll allow them kind of more of a free range. So that's the pony shelter there, and they'll be able to head out and do more of a free range. Give us a chance to kind of clean this area up. Nothing's been really able to grow in this area. So we will get that done up likely next year.
Seeding this week.
Yeah, seeding and getting some grass going out in that area and around the pond. Something else we also want to do is the rabbit area. We want to make that a little bit more friendly for visitors, so having something that people can go in and see them more so. Because we don't like people to go in and out of this gate in case we get an escapee. Okay, so Tara's just putting in some more feed and some more water into the rotation here. So while she's doing that, we'll just talk about the pigeons and peafowl enclosure here. So they do have some of those grains in there. They do have a container here, which is their normal grain food. And I built it into this wall cavity. And it's just a furnace duct that is in the bottom there. And we fill it up through this area here. And it's just built into the wall cavity, so they've got their staple of feed. Okay, and just going to put in some grain here into this container.
Since I started soaking that feed, they've gone through less lentils.
Well, and egg production has increased. We don't know if that's due to that or if it's just because they've exited their molting cycle. But we've seen vast improvements in their laying. Yeah, so these are lentils here that we just give them free choice. Just make sure that those are kind of topped up. We also do calcium eggshells, more so in the winter time, and we also add kelp. Kelp, which is a good protein source in the winter because they don't get the bugs that they would normally get outside in the summertime during the winter. The little guineas are back here.
And we have a little wild bird that, okay, this thing can't fly, but it's come in here, and it can't fly, but it's been living in here.
Oh, it's just a little chickadee. Okay.
Tiana saw it the other day. It can't fly, but it's been hanging out in here. I don't know why, because the guineas should technically eat it.
Yeah.
But, I don't know, it's like they've adopted it.
That's funny. Could be just a young one that maybe can't...
No,
That's funny.
But it's hanging with them, like running with them, underneath them.
Now in here we have some rabbits that came in. So we had 12 Rex standard rabbits that came in from the city. It was actually a meat breeder who had and raised rabbits, but their freezer was full, so then they decided, well, we don't want these ones, try to get rid of them, take them to the Humane Society, which is already to its max and couldn't take them in. So they contacted us. A lady that was watching the page contacted us and said, will you take them in? And we said, well, of course. So please watch how you're breeding your animals. We've been getting rabbits in. I think we're at,
84.
What is it? 84 plus if these ones are pregnant, which they could very well be. So that's over 100 rabbits that we've gone through this year. And it can be tough to find homes, but we do. Now there's 7 of them. 7, right? Or 5? 7 males, so 7 females
that might be pregnant
down here, and then the males are in these cages here. So we put them in these cages instead of just putting these females out with the other ones, because we know the other ones aren't pregnant. These ones were questioning, so they'll remain in here for the next month to find out if anybody's going to start pulling any hair and making any nests. If after a month there is no pulling of hair and no babies, then they will go out with the other female rabbits, and then the boys will go down into this area here. So that's kind of how we're maintaining our baby and rabbit population. So they are purebred Rex standard rabbits. They're very nice rabbits.
Gimpy's in here too.
And yeah, we've got a Gimpy that came in, which is...
leg is backwards.
Yeah, his leg...
she's surviving.
It's a hen, is it?
It's a hen.
Yeah. So her one, you might have seen her when I first put the camera in, but her one leg is backwards at the knee. And this sometimes happens, and people, you know, will try to get rid of them or butcher them or however, but we took this one in.
Yeah. Okay, so as you can see, she sometimes still uses this foot, even though it's backwards, but what'll happen is she'll either continue being gimpy or the leg will die and then we'll amputate it and she'll be a one-legged chicken. Now we have had one-legged chickens before, one-legged Stella, actually she just passed away this morning, so she was quite a bit older. I just got a message this morning that she passed away this morning. And the little girls that were spoiling her are quite upset. So they may take her sister in there, the one that's really friendly, and continue to give her lots of love.
Okay, so I believe that's everybody in the building.
Oh, eggs.
With the exception of collecting some eggs. So you want to collect eggs ideally a few times a day. If you leave the eggs in there too long, they can get poopy and you got to clean them. So ideally, getting them a few times a day. So, excuse me, get out of the way. Now, I will get pecked, see? Because she's like, what are you doing getting in there? Ooh, you got a couple in there. There we go. So, nice and clean. She's been keeping, is that it? Is that all of them? That's all of them.
This is hiding.
Now, when designing these nest boxes, you want to make sure they're designed in such a way that they're not going to spend time in them like this. You want to make sure that they're small enough that they don't find it comfy in there. But large enough that they will actually go in there. But you sometimes get them, if they're very broody, they will go in anyway, even though it's small.
She's broody.
Yeah. So this one's broody, and this other one over here is broody as well. What is happening with, speaking of broody,
nothing.
That didn't work out.
Oh. But there's no eggshell.
No, there's no egg. Well, and there was an egg over there. I think she may have kicked out. So it looks like our peafowl, our peahen, did not have success with pea chicks.
Following her right now.
Yeah, unless there's one up right now following her. But yeah, I don't see any eggshells whatsoever. She was sitting over in that area.
And a lot of the first ones, the batch that we put under the chicken, weren't fertile. So they were just, they weren't...
Prince wasn't doing his job.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody's got their food. Does everybody have their food? That's empty. Oh, you're such a silly girl. So Tara's put out the hay in these areas, these feeders here. These are their watering containers, which we will be using in the winter time. So we'll clean those out, and they just hang on there. We'll probably pick up a couple more. And they'll go, because we have to rotate them through, because they will freeze eventually. But we do the water in the morning, we do it in the evening, and throughout the day if we notice it is a little bit low or if it's empty. During the summer it's not an issue because we have the pond here and everybody drinks out of that. Now we have had quite a bit of rain in the last week, and the pond is it's filled up. And it's actually overflowed, as it's supposed to, out this area and into this area. So this section here is graded to drain everything over into it, which has been working great. And then it's currently at the level where it would be any higher, it would overflow down the trench. And right around the outside of the pond it's at a nice level, so it's not too high. So it looks like the grading of the pond was successful and should work well. All right, so yesterday Tiana put the mini gods out here so that they could get a little bit more sunshine. Now we do keep them away from the other roosters because they are small and we don't want them to get beat up, and they don't mind it. So they're hanging out in here getting some bugs and getting a little bit of sunshine.
Yes.
This is the last weekend of summer, unfortunately. Spring is coming, or fall is coming next weekend, which I will probably do a fall farm tour then. All right, Sheldon. So we are open regularly for visitors. We have, this weekend today, we're open at 11 till 3, which is most weekends. Unless we have some kind of petting farm that we're doing, or if there's a wedding going on. But our standard hours when we are here are 11 to 3. We worked that out just because if we had any longer hours, it seemed like it was really spaced out. It works much better when we do that 4-hour window. People come, you know, we get a decent crowd, and then you can have a birthday party in the afternoon, and we can actually, you know, relax and do some chores, which is usually what we do, some projects. So now we're going up to the ponies and to Carl and Billy and Marley. Good morning. So here we have the hay that's kind of stored up here. Tara got her nice little cart with no sides. Yeah, it did get wet. So ideally it should have been covered up with a tarp, but we'll be using that up so before any kind of mold starts to grow on it. So we've got all of our other material down in a larger barn, and we've even got some in our main barn, which is just inside here. So here's the chicken area that I talked about earlier. We want to open this up and let them free range. Because they have been, you know, there's just no grass, no greens in here. What's that?
Your knife on you?
I do.
I gotta get me a pocket knife.
And we have to do this. So there's lots of things. This isn't energized. I pointed this out before, but they don't know it. But we don't want them to figure it out, because then we'll have the boys out roaming through the yard. So that's it. So we've got their hay for them. We've got a large container over there, which is their water. And we just fill that up with the hose. Now for the winter time, we're kind of debating a few ways of doing things. These boys here will go into the other pen. So that'll leave the ponies and Marley. The ponies we want to try out in the larger pen to see how they do with the other animals. Marley, the alpaca, I know that he and Barry have been fighting. So we want to try to figure out something. If we can put him back in with them, neither of them are fixed. Maybe we go ahead and we fix one of them. Or we put Marley inside the building for the winter. So Marley's kind of the wild card. So we'll try to figure out how we're going to do that. And having all the animals in one space is much easier than going around to different areas. So when editing this video, I realized that it's already 24 minutes long, and I'm planning on just releasing the second half as a second video. So stay tuned for that. I'll put when available, I'll put a little card up in the top here you can click on to go to that next video. So I wanted to touch base on a couple things. One is I'm planning on doing another live stream next weekend. I figured I'd do like a 6-hour live stream throughout the day, hook up the camera to point out from the building out into the pond area, just so you guys can go in and have a look and see that. The other thing is, you may have noticed the chickens, or some of the chickens, mainly the black Australorps, have naked butts. So the reason for that is because, well, two things. They are just going through molting. The other ones have finished molting. Growing, so they have to grow back their feathers. The other portion of that is we got quite a few roosters in the yard, and we often have to kick some out of the hen area. So they're just getting mated a little too often. So we kick them out when we can. Really, we don't need any roosters in there. We haven't been hatching any chicks, and there's no need to moving into the winter. So we'll probably round up and kick the rest of those out. That's it for this video, so stay tuned for the next one, and have a wonderful day.